we're moving along quite nicely.
Ticking.
Along that.
Tick, 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 tick. All right, where is my stuff? All right, guys, we're going to get ready to get started in a minute, so. Where is my agenda? I have an agenda that's marked up, and I don't have it. That's it. Down in Vegas, Douglas County Sheriff's Department, get ready to step up. Nevada Department of Wildlife, please be ready. And BLM, your law enforcement grant will be coming up right after that. I expect these three to be fairly quick. So if you got those folks in Vegas, if you're ready, we're going to start getting up. Look, we have a new and improved Commissioner Richardson. Yay!
I think the Mesquite Police might be in Vegas as well.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but they're like fourth up or something. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if we can please take our seats. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm blocking the whole place here.
It's a trip hazard.
You know what?
Yeah, you want me to trip?
Pretty much, yeah.
I've been taken advantage of.
Well, I need to start carrying that.
Ding the bell. I'm only kidding. All right, we ready? Okay, we're going to give it just a couple of minutes. Okay, Mr. Richardson, did you take a look? Oh, sorry. Did you take a look at your agenda?
I have the agenda here in front of me.
Did you take a look at it?
Sure.
You ready?
What part do you want me to do?
The rules.
I don't have that.
Okay. You don't have this thing? It should be in your packet.
One that you gave me?
Yeah?
Rules. Okay.
Are you okay covering those?
Want me to go over the?
Yeah.
Is this what you're looking for, Paul? This thing?
No, he's got it. He's got it. Everybody had it in the packet. Are we ready over there? Okay. We'll be just one moment, folks. I set the lineup, the first presentation, after we go through the rules and a couple of other things, will be Douglas County Sheriff's Department, followed quickly by Nevada Department of Wildlife, and then the Bureau of Land Management. So if you guys could get yourselves to the testimony desks and get ready to rock and roll. Yeah? Well, yeah. Which one are you with, sir? Okay. Yeah. As soon as the wildlife will be calling in from Vegas, so as soon as Douglas County's done, you can jump right on there and get yourself set up. So you can be getting set up while we're waiting. Okay. Well, get them handed out. All righty. Going to reconvene this meeting of the Nevada Off-Highway Vehicles Commission. This portion of the meeting, we will be going over the actual grant proposals, and we will be hearing presentations from each of the prospective grantees. We have some rules that were sent out to you, or some, and complete with some helpful hints. Commissioner Richardson is going to go over those quickly with you all, so everybody's on the same page. Commissioner Richardson.
Commissioner Richardson, good morning. Grant applicants, you have an agenda. Everybody got an agenda? Everybody? Oh, okay. Each of you will have 15 minutes for your presentation and 5 minutes for any additional presentations, followed by questions from the commission members. You will be asked for more detail, so be prepared, please. Please refer to the agenda to see the order in which you will appear. I expect to have all the presentations completed by the first day on Friday, January 31st. Any presentations not heard by 4:30 will be heard after 10 a.m. on Saturday, which is tomorrow, and the location is different at the Plaza Hotel right down the street. Okay? It's a very important point that each of the commissioners has been given an e-copy of her application. Do not rely solely on that application. Bring copies of anything you may wish the commissioners to look at. There will be up to 11 commissioners in attendance. You are also welcome to use PowerPoint, large photos, whatever you think you may need to get your information across. You must make your own arrangements with the LCB. LCB, you know what that is? I don't know what that is.
Legislative Bureau, the people that run this place.
The IT guys downstairs, I guess, in regard to those logistics to make sure you're ready for your presentations. You will also be allowed to include information and more detailed information that is not part of your application. For those of you conferencing from Las Vegas, please contact Kathy at kgrost@nvohv.com for help in delivery of the handouts only. In the interest of time, it'll be helpful for you to have anyone who wants to speak in support of your grant to do so in your allotted presentation time. So 15 minutes is a hard time, 15 minutes is 15 minutes. On Saturday the 1st, which is tomorrow, the commission will start deliberations and making decisions. This will be followed by votes on which applications will be funded. The commission may have questions, so making a good member.
Maybe a good idea to have somebody
Of your organization,
yep.
Making a member of your organization available by phone, or even having someone in the room may be a good idea to help you answer whatever questions that we may have. This will then be finalized on February 6th via conference call, at which time we may hear any appeals. This meeting will be open to the public. The commission has decided to keep the number of grants to around 12. The commission is under no obligation to give out all the funds available at this time and may offer another grant opportunity later this year. If for any reason you feel that any part of the process has been unfair to your application, please bring it to the chair, who will then bring it to the commission at the proper time. There are several opportunities for appeal of decisions made in reference to your grant application. You have any questions, feel free to email Mr. Jackson at his email address. Any questions? Comments? Mr. Chair?
Thank you. All right, we're going to jump right in, and our first applicant, and it's always tough to be first. It is. Come on. All right, but we'll be nice. We're a really nice group. Our first applicant is going to be Douglas County. Name and rank and everything else for the record. That would be useful.
My name is David Amami. Last name is Aymami. I'm the administrative captain for the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. I'm actually sitting in for Ross Chichester, our financial analyst, who had to go to a meeting with the sheriff and the county manager to make our budget work. So unfortunately, you get stuck with me. I was a previous patrol commander, and I did deal with this grant or deal with this service that we're providing last year. Basically, what we're asking for is some assistance. We put 2 officers that work overtime in the U.S. Forest Service properties during weekends and high traffic areas or high time areas during the summer. We already have a local agreement with the Humboldt-Toyobe National Forest for limited patrols. And what we're asking for is some funding to help with overtime to cover personnel, because it's not in our budget to do this. What these officers do, if you go on the second page of our proposal, this is a vehicle we already have. We're not asking for money for it. just so you see that we already have this program established. We put 2 officers out, usually on a Friday and Saturday evenings, into U.S. Forest Service areas. We've already developed a book. I didn't make copies of the book because it's rather extensive, but it shows all U.S. Forest Service lands, BLM lands that are in Douglas County. The officers will patrol these areas on Fridays and Saturday nights, or if there's holiday situations, we'll put them out there on those days. And what they're looking for is they're looking for illegal activity, illegal forest fires, juvenile parties, anything that's going on in the Forest Service land that violates the law and makes sure that our public's safe out there. So in a nutshell, that's basically what we're requesting is some assistance with funding for overtime to put our officers out in the U.S. Forest Service properties.
All right, thank you, sir.
I hope that was quick enough.
Yeah, it was great. We like fast. It is rumored that we do add points for people to get things done fast, but, you know, that's only a rumor. All right, I've got a couple of quick questions. You state you mainly do this in the evening, and obviously, you know, we're looking for OHV participation. Would you be able to do daytime patrols if we gave you a grant?
We will, because it's limited, it says in here, you know, how much it costs us for a 10-hour day for 2 officers, because we don't put one officer out in the woods by themselves. 1, they probably get lost, and 2, you know, it's not an officer safety thing. So it's about $1,000 a day to run this. So it's really limited, so we try to do what's, you know, the best bang for our buck. So usually we find like Fridays, Saturday evenings is usually when you're going to have the most people out there. During the day, it's going to be, you know, probably people using off-road vehicles, and they're not really committing a lot of crimes. But we can put people out there on day shift. That was part of your grant stipulation that you wanted us to patrol during some day shift activity. I'm sure we could work that out.
Okay, and I know you have to do this for the Forestry Service because I'm kind of used to dealing with them. We would, before we did a grant, we would definitely put a stipulation that we received contact sheets. Is that going to be an issue?
Contact sheets as in?
Who did you contact?
Yes.
Basically, so we know that, you know, you're out there and you're talking to people.
Yes, what the officers are required to do is obviously they set up on overtime, and the shift that they work, they're required to fill a log out and turn it into our administrative analyst, Ross Chichester. And Ross Chichester will be the one who will do all the reporting. If you require any reporting, he will make available to you all the daily logs and the hours that the officers are working.
Okay. If a commissioner, if we fund this and we decide that, you know, we like to see where our money's being used and we need to be able to report back, obviously, to our constituents, would there be availability for a commissioner or a commissioner appointee to do a ride-along?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, that's all my questions. All right, I'll take Commissioner Richardson first, followed by Commissioner Elmore.
Commissioner Richardson, just to follow on what you exactly said, are we going to know in advance? You said you have the logs, and I suspect the logs are after the fact.
Yes.
Are we going to know in advance when this is going to happen? Because, I mean, me personally, I would love to go along.
Yeah, what we do is, what I did last year, and I'm sure they're going to do the same thing this year, is we figure out how much money we have, and then we know how many shifts we can run. And then what we'll do is we'll put up a sign-up sheet, which last year it was Fridays and Saturdays, and we calculated how many days we could do, and then the officers would sign up. So you could easily contact the sheriff's office, and we'll let you know. It'll probably be Fridays and Saturdays unless you stipulate, hey, we'd really like to do it on a certain date, on a day shift. We can accommodate that. But you can contact the sheriff's office, and we can easily sign you up. And it'll most likely be Fridays and Saturdays is when we found the most activity.
Commissioner Richardson, can we stipulate at least a time frame when that notice is given to us? 2 weeks, 30 days, something like that? Is that reasonable?
Commissioner Richardson, to answer your question in general, we can do whatever we want.
Then I would ask that we have at least a 2-week notice. Is that okay?
And that would be fine, is once we know how much money we have, that's my only stipulation. Once we know how much money we have, then we know how many shifts we can run. And that's just a matter of, we know we have X amount of money, we're going to run this many shifts, we do a schedule, and then we can easily send that to you.
2 weeks?
Yeah, Commissioner Richardson, tomorrow when we're dealing with them and we're setting the parameters, that's when we would bring that up. So you may want to make a note and go forward. Commissioner Elmore, you were next. Thank you for your patience.
Commissioner Elmore, trying to understand, currently you have 30 patrols budgeted each year? Is that the way I read the
We
grant
try to
application?
do 30. Last year, we got a little bit of money from the U.S. Forest Service, and obviously, they've cut back. That's why we're looking for other avenues to get revenue. And a lot of times, we will do more. It all depends, as you all know, with budgets. It depends how our overtime's going for the year. If we're able to save some overtime and we can actually fund our own personnel through our own budget to do it, we'll do 30, but we do as many as we can possibly do. And we try to do it from May through August, September. So we'll try to put in as many shifts as we can.
So I guess my question is, and you answered part of it, the current patrol occurs at an overtime rate. This patrol, if we were to fund it, would also occur at an overtime rate, even if we were to ask that it would be done during the day.
Yes.
So any patrol is...
Any patrol will be done at an
OHV patrol
overtime rate.
is at an overtime rate.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Baker.
I'm just trying to understand this a little bit more, given that it's an OHV grant. Can you give me some indication of what you would be finding that would be protecting or law enforcement from the OHV community?
What we'd be doing is looking for people that are driving recklessly, people that haven't registered their vehicles, anything that's going to endanger any public safety that's out in on the U.S. Forest Service property.
Go ahead, Mr. Lambert.
Hello, sir. Gary Lambert for the record. As we all know, the Pine Nuts has a predominant use area that's BLM interface. The BLM has a big issue with trigger trash. This is strictly a Forest Service request, or you're going to go out and do the Pine Nuts area in El Dorado Canyon, Johnson Lane, or is this strictly a Forest Service area? Because I personally spend a lot of time cleaning up the pine nuts from trigger trash, so I'm going to favor you more if I know that you're addressing trigger trash and garbage and bin inspections and what we clean up, because the OHV community cleans that area up regularly.
Again, the previous grant, I believe, was through the U.S. Forest Service. So they obviously wanted us to do the Forest Service. Obviously, if we get grant money from this group and you want us to patrol those other areas, they would be added into there. And I think we did also patrol those areas last year, but obviously, whoever pays the grant, that's where we need to work.
I understand.
So,
I mean,
and
there's a
we're,
much
we're
bigger-
fully willing to do that.
There's a much bigger compliance problem probably in the Pine Nuts area
Oh,
right now
absolutely.
than what you have in where you've asked for money. So you'll take direction from us kindly when you take our money, right?
It's your money.
I thought so. Thanks.
All righty. Do I see any? Commissioner Lee?
That's Commissioner Lee. And I guess just to follow up, that was my concern, that it would be just the Forest Service. It'd be nice to see that it wasn't just the Forest Service area, that it was BLM. It was the only place there was going to be an issue. And kind of like Commissioner Baker said, we really want to see this go toward OHV. And personally, I know there's been a little bit of hesitation on the side of law enforcement on enforcing this new OHV regulation. Not new, but I guess Douglas County is prepared to.
Absolutely. This, just so you know, this project is very near and dear to the sheriff's heart. This was something that he really pushed for. We had done it several years ago, and then obviously the grant money had gone away from the Forest Service, and then it came back, and he was very forceful in that he wanted this done. And yeah, he's very aware of the OHV situation, and he fully wants to support that.
Good, thank you.
All right. Do I see any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
Commissioner Juro for the record. Now, it sounds like you're doing patrols when you say Friday, Saturday, and this is nighttime patrols?
It's usually swing shifts, so the officers would come on 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they'd patrol through the evening. That's when they're going to find primarily a lot of the issues that they found before is they'll get a lot of the partiers out there. They will build the big bonfires and a bunch of issues out there. They want to control that. And there tends to be more people out on the weekends, camping, hiking, using their off-road vehicles on the weekends. So that's typically when we want to do that. But again, if you want to stipulate, you want us to target it more during a Saturday when there's more off-road vehicles, we can obviously add that in.
Yeah, I would think that Saturday and Sunday, daylight hours are going to be, huge as far as the off-road, usage. And I think, the commission is really looking more for not only enforcement, but also education, going out and, saying, hey, you need to have it registered. And, in fact, it'd be nice to have a provision to where you could actually help with even a VIN inspection as part of the process. The more we get
You're welcome to
registered.
put that in there, sir.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I see any, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. McKay. Commissioner McKay.
Thank you for your presentation. I was just trying to think a little out of the box. I can understand your safety reasons for trying to have 2 officers at the same time. However, Forest Service, BLM, several others do it with 1 person. And then perhaps you could have a person part-time working instead of 2 guys on overtime and maybe cover 6 months, 4 or 5 hours a day versus 2 days in the evenings for partiers.
We've been pretty steadfast, and we like to have 2 officers because of what's going to go on there. Especially what we've been doing is in the evenings with the parties and stuff. It's safer for the officers to have 2. I think the sheriff will probably want to stick with the 2 officers because of the safety reason. Obviously, working a day shift would probably be a little bit safer. Again, it's your money. If that's something you'd like to stipulate in there, that would be a call for the sheriff, whether he wants to allow 1 officer to go out there or not.
Thank you. I think Ms. McKay was getting at, if we're giving you 30 grand, can you just hire 2 guys part-time at regular pay? Maybe somebody who's already post-trained and you bring them in, or somebody who's recently retired. I think that's what he was asking.
Absolutely. If that's the stipulation to the grant, then we'll do what the grant indicates.
All right, terrific. All right, do we have anything else? Because we do need to move along. We have a lot of these to go. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
All right, and I believe our next applicant is Department of Wildlife, and they're coming to us from Vegas. BLM, if you're at the ready, and Mesquite, if you're at the ready, right after that. Is that our person from the Department of Wildlife there in Vegas?
Yes, sir.
All right, please go ahead. Name and...
Good morning, Mr.
Kathy's trying to.
Oh, sorry.
Good morning, Mr.
One second,
Chairman,
you can
and-
hold for 30 seconds.
Oh,
Quick, Kathy, let's go.
There was a question from Commissioner Richardson and Commissioner Lee about the numbering of the proposals. The proposals are numbered as they are listed in the agenda. So Douglas County is proposal number 1, and Nevada Department of Wildlife will be number 2. There was confusion among the commissioners, or some of the commissioners apparently, about the numbering.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving right along. Department of Wildlife, please go ahead. Name, rank, and all that good stuff for the record.
good morning. My name's Paul Dankowski. I'm a game warden captain with Nevada Department of Wildlife. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak on the NDAL, Nevada Department of Wildlife LE grant proposal, and I'm happy to answer any questions related to that. And I believe my coworker Ed Lingar is in your audience, and he will have any additional hard copies that you, if you need those.
We need those handed out right away, please, Mr. Lingard. Paul, why don't you cover the grant, basically? What, are you looking for equipment? What are you doing?
This year, we're asking for equipment, specifically 3 OHVs to assist game wardens in patrol efforts to maximize voluntary compliance with registration requirements on OHVs utilized by sportsmen.
Okay. Is there anything you want to tell us about the OHVs? Are they a particular type, or?
In this proposal, attached to my proposal, I do have a price quote. That make and model is just one that we have used in the past. I'm open to whatever the funding will allow. We use Michael Power Sports there in Reno because we've used them in the past. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to state for the record
that
that these machines can be purchased from any dealer, and that any action by the Department of Wildlife would mean that they would look for the lowest bidder, and they would not particularly go to any one dealership based on anything or any extraneous reasons. So they would go to the lowest bidder only.
That is understood.
Can you clarify that that would be keeping the money in the state of Nevada?
Yes, we could. Go, ask the question.
I think we should clarify that we keep the money in the state of Nevada.
Paul?
And this is, yeah, and we are state of Nevada peace officers.
But I think the,
Make your purchase.
I think the point was that Commissioner Baker was asking was that the purchases would be in the state of Nevada from a dealer within the state.
No problem.
Okay. All right, any other questions from anyone? Mr. Cox?
This is Commissioner Cox. In your project need and benefit packet, you state you already have 17 OHVs, so I have to question the need for 3 additional.
The way we looked at it, knowing the shortness, smallness of the budget this year, we decided to ask for equipment rather than for salary money on the first go-around of the budget proposal. If you look at it as the equipment items are the first step into having OHV dollars fund the time, effort, and equipment for game wardens to monitor and enforce the OHV registration used by sportsmen in Nevada. That's kind of how we're looking at it. We would like to go in subsequent years to ask for salary money to fund the time specific to OHV registration enforcement, if that makes sense to you.
It does.
NDOW is essentially a self-funded agency, so our dollars that we receive are from sportsmen's dollars, and our wildlife enforcement activities are funded through those, and we also do boating safety, which is funded through a Coast Guard grant. So any other duties that we do have basically have to come from a user-funded base source. So we're looking at the 3 OHVs in addition to our current OHVs and fleet of off-road trucks to be used. All of that will be used for this enforcement effort.
All right, terrific. All right, do we have any more questions?
Commissioner Rich.